Hey everyone, this is Mike, and earlier today the Liveletter Part 1 for patch 5.4 took place. Now they started going over some information about Boja again, seeing how that was already in the last Liveletter for patch 5.3, which I also covered on the channel. I'm not gonna go and repeat all of that information. Also feels a little bit weird to talk about the next part of Boja already, which they go into later in the Liveletter, when part 1 isn't in the game yet. But we will be getting this coming Tuesday, so in a few days we'll be able to get our hands on Boja Part 1. Now for actual 5.4 stuff, patch is going to be called Futures Rewritten. 5.3 concluded Shadowbringers, so this is going to be setting up for the next expansion, and the patch will be coming out in early December, so either the 1st or the 8th, with the 8th of December being my personal guess. Now with this being an even numbered patch, we of course have some things that we can expect to be in this one. So first of all, new MSQ, already knew this, new dungeon, which is called Matoya's Relic. Now they did show us a screenshot from Heavensward when they were talking about the new MSQ. They also mentioned which Matoya could it be, because back in Heavensward we had an NPC called Matoya in the story, but now in Shadowbringers, Y'shtola took on the name of Matoya on the 1st, so we'll have to see which one of the two it is going to be. This dungeon will also be playable with the trust system if you want to play through it with your trusts. A new Chronicles quest for the weapon series is also going to be introduced, this time around the Emerald weapon, and it will also be a trial this time with an extreme version, so no single player instance where we get to pilot our Gundam, I guess. Kind of unfortunate because I did really enjoy the Gundam, but on the other hand, I'm definitely not saying no to another weapon being an extreme trial, because I did quite enjoy the Ruby weapon. Then the new raid, this one's going to be called Eden's Promise. This is going to be the last raid here for this expansion. Do know that Ultimate should still be coming out later this year, or well, later this expansion, which should be coming in 5.5. Now, you need to have finished the 5.3 main scenario quest if you want to do Eden's Promise. You don't need to do the new MSQ, you just need to do the one that is currently in the game. Then for some job adjustments, they mentioned monk changes again, but they will be going more into detail in Liveletter Part 2. Yoshida also quickly mentioned that he's gonna try to become a monk pro to show us all of the different things, again, stuff like, for example, Greased Lightning becoming a trait. They also still wanted to keep the active feeling of the job, but not too many details were given. We'll have to wait until Liveletter Part 2 to basically see some of the changes in action, because actually for all of the content, they didn't show anything specifically, so those things will probably come in Part 2 as well. Blue Mage is also getting his level cap up to level 70, for which they will show again some of the gear, some of the new skills in Part 2. Blue Mage getting his level cap up to 70 could also mean that we might get new achievements and a new mount to do some of the Stormblood raids. Who knows about that? Definitely looking forward to it, because me and my friends just finished all of the level 60 achievement stuff for Blue Mage, which I did quite enjoy. So I'm actually definitely looking forward to doing the level 70 Blue Mage content, if there would be any. Then moving over to Boja Part 2. As I mentioned, we're getting Boja Part 1 on the coming Tuesday, but they already mentioned some stuff about Part 2, which we will be having a new content called Delubrum Reginae. I'm probably butchering that name, but this is essentially going to be our new Baldesian Arsenal. Baldesian Arsenal being the big, like, what was it, 48 player raid essentially that we had towards the end of Eureka. And this is going to be our version 2.0 of that. This time around there will be two different versions, a 24-man for normal mode and a 48-man for what they are calling the Savage mode. But seeing how they call Baldesian Arsenal super high-end Savage content, I don't really think that this is going to be on the same difficulty as an actual Savage raid, but still 48 player content, probably going to be pretty fun, because I did really enjoy Baldesian Arsenal, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting like the new and improved version of that. Moving on to some gathering updates. Collectibles and Ethereal Reduction are getting a rework. Collector's Glove is just completely going away, and we're also getting a new interface for collectibles and some other changes behind the scenes for how perception and gathering and such are going to be interacting with these collectibles. There's also a change to gathering nodes, where it will now show the elevation as well, so you'll know whether or not you need to dive for a gathering point, or for example if it's up on a cliff. Some decent quality of life changes basically. Then moving over to Fisher, these are getting some updates as well, as Fish Eyes is going to be getting adjusted and will now allow you to capture fish while ignoring time requirements. Now, if you've never really done any endgame fishing, so to speak, this is mainly going to be for things like the big fishing, if you're going for that Master Caster title, because for those you need a specific time window, you need a specific weather type usually as well, and Fish Eyes is probably going to be making it so that whenever you have the weather type for it, you can use Fish Eyes to go fish for that fish, or the big fish, like outside of its time window. At least that's how I'm thinking it's going to be. But that won't really impact you all that much if you're just a casual fisher and you're doing it to just make some food for raiding, for example. There's also going to be some things coming to ocean fishing, adding new missions and objectives that upon completion will grant you bonus score whilst you're on the fishing trip. And there's also going to be new routes that the boat will take. So if you like ocean fishing, some new content for you right there. Its Guardian Restoration will also have another update, and this is going to be the last step towards completing the restoration. There's also going to be new rankings here again with achievements and such, and a title that you can get. Together with this, the Skysteel tools are also getting their update, since in 5.4 we are getting a new step to our relic weapon with Boja Part 2. The Skysteel tools, which are the Gatherer and Crafter relics, are also going to be getting an update. There will also be a new Unreal trial. They didn't say which one this was going to be, so we have no real information about what boss we can expect, but they said that most of us will be pretty hyped for it, so who knows what this could be. Treasure maps are also getting some new stuff, allowing us to delve deeper into the secrets of Ligeia. This will probably be some extra chambers. I'm maybe thinking about the Thieves maps from back in Stormblood, something like that, but no real concrete information. They only showed us like a image of a work in progress, because it's not really finished just yet. Then some miscellaneous updates, new triple triad stuff, Mahjong, a new instrument, which is going to be the violin, a new system for affixing multiple materia, and the ability to link quests in the chat window. Now this materia thing I think is really interesting, especially if we're looking at, for example, crafter gear going into the next raid tier in 5.4. A lot of raiders are gonna buy crafted gear, a lot of people will want to pentamelt their gear as well, and if you can just be like, okay, here's a stack of 200 materia, try to pentamelt it, I think this could be a really cool thing. They also announced some things for the PS5, most important one being that you will be able to play Final Fantasy XIV on the PlayStation 5 with your PlayStation 4 version of the game, so you won't have to rebuy the game basically if you plan on upgrading to the PlayStation 5. Now, they had a break at this point, and after the break they came back with a UI designer on stream going through some questions and answers. Now, I'm not going to be going into detail about this Q&A because not really all that much was said that really contained much information about the next patch. One thing I do want to talk about is that there's going to be a new feature called Explorer Mode. Now, this will allow you to go into a dungeon after you've completed it to freely explore it. I really liked it when they let us explore the 24-man raids together with the Nier collaboration, so this could be really fun for people that just want to take a closer look at dungeons or take screenshots, for example, as you'll also be able to use mounts, minions, and other things like umbrellas inside. You'll also be able to place a striking dummy, so you can basically get the right abilities for when you want to do that G pose, and you can even do an LB1, 2, or 3 animation as well. I'm definitely going to be making use for this for example, my thumbnails on the YouTube side of things. And then last but not least, they also talked about FanFest. They tried to delay the decision a lot at this point, but all of the FanFests are cancelled. They will be hosting an event in February to announce some new information right before the 14-hour broadcast that will be held on the same day. And they are planning on making a digital FanFest. There's going to be a global thing, and this is also going to be happening in May. So no physical FanFest, which is a bit of a bummer, but with the state that the world is currently in, I definitely was expecting this. Now, one final thing I also need to mention is that there is going to be a new feature coming to the Lodestone called the Community Finder, and this is to help find link shells or free companies. I can probably imagine something like statics for raiding, etc. That could be quite useful for some people if they don't have the right discords. Basically, more channels for you to find people to team up with is always a good thing. And then they ended the stream with some merch. So that's pretty much everything for patch 5.4 part 1, of course, when it comes down to the live letter. The second one will be sometime later before the patch goes live. My guess being somewhere around the later half of November, where they will probably dive a little bit deeper into some information, like for example the monk rework. And I'm also expecting them to show off some of the content like Boja 2.0, or like part 2, maybe some of the new Baldesian arsenal as well, maybe go into the new emerald weapon as well. We'll have to wait and see about that, but that's gonna be it for me. I want to thank you for watching, I want to thank my patrons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.